Hello, everybody. My name is Rafael,
And I'm Julio.
and this is Rebuild It with PG, where we talk about one of the larger industries down here in Florida, concrete restoration and its many aspects. And today we are talking from a different point of view. Normally, we talk about what we do, how we see it, how we have to deal with it. Let's take a look at how the client and the other people have to deal with it because we normally work on occupied buildings.
The residents.
Yeah, we work on a lot of condominiums, a lot of apartments, and these are apartments that they're not condemned or anything. People are living in it, and they have to deal with construction. And if you've ever been unlucky enough to be a resident in an area, whether it's a hotel, apartment, or condo, and you've had construction, even in your own home, you know it is not the greatest of times.
It's not.
So we're gonna go by the least disturbing parts of it and make our way towards the most disturbing parts of it, and stay tuned to the end to see what that is. But let's start with something that you may not think of: the smell.
The smell.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not sewer workers, and our workers aren't, even though they do sweat, they're not working right next to you. But
there are a lot of sensitive people out there.
there are a lot of sensitive people out there. You never know.
I've seen it all, man.
Somebody's got a bloodhound nose. It may happen, but mostly the smell comes in usually when we're applying the waterproofing agents.
Waterproofing, yeah.
Yeah, there are especially when we're doing exterior, because we do mostly exterior. So the exterior waterproofing agents have different restrictions. Interior agents have very high restrictions on vapors and smells. For that reason, it's interior, not usually well ventilated. Exteriors, they loosen up on those restrictions because you're on the outside. However, if you're happy to walk by, a polyurethane waterproofing solution is a pretty strong smell.
It's pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a xylene base.
It's a xylene base, so it is.
It's a strong
It's
smell.
almost like that gasoline type. It's not the
like
smell.
acetone.
Yeah, it's not the smell of gasoline, but it's that same strength.
Acetone, yeah.
And the other part is painting.
Painting,
right?
Yep.
When we're painting, if you ever painted indoors or out, you know there's a smell to it.
Yep.
Right?
There's always a smell.
And then there's always that faint smell of dust in the air. Because as much as you try, you can never prevent 100% of dust. You try your best. You use vacuums. You use dust barriers. It's fine. It's fine particles. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. And the last thing is the toilet, the potty toilet.
Oh, when they're changing it out.
When they come, remember, you got 20, 30 guys using, sometimes you got 4 or 5, depending how many guys you have, and
listen,
peeing and doing the necessary. When they come and clean it, they move all that.
I've been doing this for just under 20 years, and then every time they come and change out, it never gets any better.
It doesn't.
Every time the truck comes out and pumps out all that waste into their little collector tank to pump in new fresh water, it smells like your nose is inside the porta potty, like inside the water itself. It's horrible.
So that's a smell that you're gonna have at least once a week.
Usually it's twice a week when you have to change it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, minimum or once a week. But that's pretty strong, Yeah.
Another nuisance that we have to go through is, or not we, but the residents have to go through, is their privacy rights.
Privacy.
We always send out emails because we work on a lot of high rises. We work outside of windows on the 30th, 20th floor, where you don't expect people to sit outside your window. So we always send out emails to the owners. Hey, cover up your windows, close your blinds. If you want your privacy, understand that there's going to be people right outside your door, right outside your windows, outside your balconies.
You'll be drinking your coffee, and we're right there looking at you. Oh, look at that! She's drinking her coffee. No, that's not. But you can look into your window. We're not see guys out
on you, but people are working right outside your windows, usually very close to it.
Very close to it.
Especially initially when we have to start putting protections on the windows, we do put in a blue film.
Yeah, so we actually right on the window.
Yeah, so we're right there putting up blue window film on it. And if it's clear, then it's even less private. So you have people right outside. It's usually, and it's your home. You want your privacy. So you have to close up your blinds. And then here's the issue, especially here in Florida, a lot of condominiums are by the beach because of your view. So now you have your privacy rights taken away from you a little bit. But if you want your privacy, you have to lose your view. And I think that's a good segment into our next one, which is site. It's construction.
Mm.
It's not the prettiest thing in the world.
It's gonna be inconvenience, a lot of inconvenience.
You're gonna have scaffolding. You may have cables running down. You may have rigging. You may have people running around, sweaty, dirt, dust, concrete spill all over the area. And even if, we clean daily, but even with that, it's never the same. Places look dirtier. It's gonna happen. Your windows make it a little more dirtier because of the dust in the air. Your balcony, if you happen to look outside and you got this nice little penthouse view, you look at your balcony, it's all torn up, concrete parts are missing, there's rebar sticking out. There's two guys sitting there just chipping away. They got sweat everywhere. Your windows may be blocked off, like we mentioned, so you lose that nice oceanfront view. And these condominiums get expensive just because of the view.
Yeah. So now you gotta pay to lose your view
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
couple of months sometime.
You're paying a special assessment, and
Yeah.
that's another inconvenience. Is the financial area of it.
So, yeah.
You pay a special assessment. You get an extra amount to your HOA payments, your monthly maintenance payments, and you are losing out on sometimes one of the biggest reasons why people buy these condominiums for your view.
Yeah.
It's an annoying part.
And this projects, like we say, they're not a week project. They're not a 2 week. Some of these buildings they can go up 2-3 years, depending how bad or what they decide to do on the concrete restoration project. Because you can always combine your concrete restoration with other things. Like we say before, you can take the opportunity and change your rails, change your window. Now you want to add something in your facade. Those are the moment you want to do so. All that's the time that you're going to be we're going to be on top of your privacy. In other words.
Well, luckily, the way we work, and most companies work this way on a vertical section of the building. Obviously, that entire section is not going to take the entire length of the project. We don't cover up the entire building at once. We go bit by bit, and we spend a little bit of time on each section. But for example, we just did a 22-story building or 23-story building, and we spent 2 to 3 months on a stack. And one stack, that's 2 to 3 months of you having your windows blocked off, you having your doors blocked off, you having to look at the construction, not having access to your balcony. And that's a good segue into the next part, is the physical limitations of a construction job, because we have to block the doors to a balcony when we're working on the balcony. Even if we're not working on that balcony specifically, we're working on the one above it or even the one below it, we have to block it off 100%. The entire time we're working on it, we can't go every single day and take off the blocks, let some people out, because number one, even though we clean, there's still a little bit of dust on your balcony. Makes it a little more slippery. You may have pieces of concrete missing, so you could step in, twist an ankle, hurt yourself. You may have pieces of railing missing, and you're not surviving a 20-story drop. So that's a very big health issue. You may have pieces of concrete missing from above you. You may have people working above you, and if anything falls on you, that's a big safety risk. So you can spend 2 to 3 months without access to your balcony, without access to some fresh air other than just stepping outside the building, right? And then some of the exits of the building are blocked off. Now, do not physically block off any exits because that's a fire hazard, but they do have signs say, hey, don't go out here. There's construction. Use this on an emergency only.
Only emergency. Yeah.
And on all the exits, we have to do these tunnels, basically these overhead protections, so that if you do have to go outside the exit, or if it's an exit we cannot block, you have some protection.
You
right?
will have protection. Yeah.
You will
Safety
have protection.
First. Yep.
Another issue with the physical barriers is if these condominiums have a pool and we're working right on that end, what do? We close down the pool. No pool, no jacuzzi, no lanai deck. And that could be for a couple months. It could be for half a year. It depends on the work. Because we've had jobs where it's not just the concrete restoration, it's the concrete restoration and where we're doing the pool.
And the pool. Yep.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of times, if the pool is really close to the building and we have people working on the swing stages, we can't do the restoration of the pool at that time. So we have to close off the pool when we do the restoration and then close it off again when we have people working right on it.
Yeah.
So you lose a lot of that access and use a lot of the biggest complaint we always see, Julio. What is the biggest complaint we always see?
Well, parking,
Parking every
parking.
time.
Every time they're parking. Yeah.
It's because we have to block off parking for our construction area for our dumpsters, which takes up at least 2 to 3 units. We have to block off another 2 parking spaces, so that's what 4 units so far for the container. We have to block off a parking space per driver, and we do try to carpool. We understand
And the section that we are working.
to block off an entire section because we have materials coming by. We have to store them there.
And we got the guys working above
If
too.
we're working right above a parking space, that parking space entire section has to be blocked off. The parking space across it usually has to be blocked off because debris can fall and be blown off with the wind. Or if it falls at an angle, especially if you got a 20-story drop, it can gain some distance, right? And you can damage your vehicle. Nobody wants that. Cracked windows, not fun. So you now have to park in a different area. You may have to take a longer route to get anywhere because certain areas are blocked off due to the construction. We had a complaint.
No, we had a complaint. We were just talking about that. You know, a lady they relocate her parking spot to another place. It's a regular parking spot. It happened that she hit the column at one time, and she came back to us saying that she hit that column because of us, because we forced her to go to another parking space
That she wasn't
and
used
she
to,
wasn't
yeah.
used to that parking space. And, you know, so I mean, it all depends who you bump into out there. I mean, there's some people that they hold on to anything to actually make your life miserable.
Well, another issue you have to deal with. Actually, we had another complaint where we closed off half a ramp to down into a lower level parking garage because we were doing waterproofing on it, and the half that was open. And note that they had stickers everywhere saying if you don't feel comfortable because now you have a tighter area to go down this ramp, let valet know. Valet will move the car for you. Well, this person did not do so. They cut it too close and scratched the side of the car with the side of the wall of the ramp because some of the ramp was closed off. Right, so you have all these limitations to the area that you're paying a lot of money. Usually a lot of money for these condominiums are cheap.
No, it goes really,
Especially
really,
nowadays.
Really high. Yeah. Very expensive.
And then now you have limited access to the view. You have limited access to your balcony. Some have no access to your balcony for months on end. And even once we're off your line, once we're off your stack, we leave there. You have your balcony back. You have your site back. Everything's cleaned up. It looks nicer. It's repainted. You step outside. The one thing you can never get away from is the noise.
The noise.
For those of you that do not know, basic physics states that sound waves travel further through solid objects than they do through thin air, which is why you can stick your ear right above a train track and kind of hear the train coming miles away. The same thing happens with concrete restoration. We could be on one end of the building chipping away. We're chipping away into solid concrete sometimes.
Yeah, right.
And that reverberates throughout the entire building all the way across. And we're working 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We're making noise the entire time. It's like a war zone.
It is. I think that's a number one complaint of it's just the noise.
And you can never go away from it.
There's something. I mean, I hope we can get some rubber tips for the chipper, but we're not gonna.
Yeah, we need a silencer. Somebody who's smart out there, an engineer, make a silencer for a demo hammer.
It is loud.
I promise you,
going to be loud.
Instant millionaire. You make a silencer for demo hammers and grinders, instant millionaire. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. You made it.
Yeah.
We're also grinding, and a saw blade grinding against the floor is not quiet. Cutting concrete's not quiet. If it's not that, you hear the beep, 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 beep from all the trucks, whether it's deliveries, picking up materials, picking up the dumpster, cleaning the porta potties. Every one of these commercial vehicles, even some of our heavier, just regular trucks, 250s, they have a beep to it.
They have a beep. They have
to have a beep. If we have any kind of bobcats on site, any booms, loads, they have a beep to it.
They have a beep to it.
Even our little, we have a little tractor. We have a little golf cart.
A golf cart,
to move things around. If you put that thing on reverse, there's a beep to it.
There's a beep to it, yeah.
Right? It's a little tiny vehicle. You can lift it up. And all that is the highest complaint we get. It's just the noise. Yes. And for these jobs that last months on end, sometimes a year and a half, we've done a year and a half long job, and it's with the exception of maybe like the last few weeks, where the only thing we have left to do is some stucco and some paint.
Yeah, I know that's the question that people start asking a month before. When is the concrete going to finish? When?
Yeah,
Because
when's the
now they know.
demolition?
Now they know that the concrete is the worst part of the. When is the concrete going to finish? When is the concrete? So no, we got 3 months to finish the
Oh,
job. You say, yeah, but how many you have with the concrete? I say,
and here's the kicker: it doesn't stop after we're done.
it
It
doesn't.
doesn't stop after the day. After the day is over, it doesn't stop. We have swing stages that we bring all the way down. Once we're done with the end, we bring these basically metal aluminum baskets that are hooked up to motors. And there's usually 5 cables, 2 steel cables for the motors, 3 safety lines for the workers. And we bring those swing stages down, we tie them off, we put as much tension as we safely can on these cables to keep them from moving. But on windy days and on windy nights,
That's
you
another.
have
That's
these
another
cables
complaint.
oscillating back and forth. And if you have, unfortunately, like a aluminum railing, it's just clank, 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 clank,
Oh my
clank
god, we had those complaints a few
all
times.
night long, and there's not much you can do because we every contractor has a set price put in for the time it takes to install and remove these things. And no contractor is going to be removing and uninstalling the cables every single day and bringing them up every single day and then bringing them back down it's not happening. And the best that people do is they tie off the swing stages at a bit of an angle. So if a building's here, the swing stage is here, so you kind of make a bit of an angle as much as you can. And for shorter buildings, it works because you only got maybe 50 feet of cable, but a 23-story building, it's 250 feet of cable. And no matter how tight you make it, and you can't make it too tight either because then you can pull down the beams.
Yep.
It's gonna have some give and take to it.
Yeah. So that's yeah. We had a couple of complaints. Hey, listen. Good thing I have a lady since 6 o'clock in the morning in my office that she haven't slept all night
Yeah.
because the rope was hitting her window all night long.
Well, we had a woman claiming, and if you have this condition, it's even worse. If you're claustrophobic in any way, when we put up the blue window film, I mean, luckily they have this now clear one that we're using more often, but before it was just a blue window film. When you put that up over your window and the sun hits it, you might as well have your blinds closed. And it just makes your apartment so much darker because if not, your apartment's blue now.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you have a blue apartment now because everything is blue. The light filters in, it's blue. Your windows are blue. You have like basically blue high beams if the sun's facing you.
Yeah.
The entire apartment just looks blue, and it's a horror. I think that messes with your psyche a little bit. So we've had people on the verge of like mental breakdowns, just asking us, please take down the film, take down the protection, find something else, and
Just get that off my window, please.
just get off my window. And
I'm like,
it's
oh my
we
God.
feel for them, trust me. So we've actually looked into it. Now we have a different material. It's like a roll on or a spray on
That we put on the
window
windows.
film that when it hardens, it basically becomes a film.
Yeah.
And it comes out clear, which is nice. It's still a little opaque, so it's almost like that frosted
That frosty, yeah, a little
privacy
frosty, yeah.
setting for windows, but it's definitely better than blue.
Yeah.
But still, not everybody uses it because it's a little more expensive.
It's a roll on.
It's a roll on. It's a little more expensive, but it's just not a fun process. Luckily, a lot of people, they have the money and they go up north. They're snowbirds. They go up north. They leave.
A lot of these property managers, they always want to work into the time that they're up.
Yeah, the
Like
best
in the
times to work.
summertime,
Summer.
that they know most of the people that are up north.
That's when
and
you want to
then,
do the restoration.
that's when you want to work because everybody's out. There's a lot of vacation homes here in South Florida.
Yeah.
So we always try to look for that time, but most of this job they're always over a year, so you're always going to bump into those times.
Yeah, no, I mean we've had a lot of issues with the concrete restoration. For example, if you're doing concrete restoration around the window, sometimes the headers or it's like a concrete beam on top of the window is so deteriorated that just chipping it away, it's usually about 4 to 6 inches thick, so it's deep, 4 to 6 inches deep. Sometimes it's so bad, and we've had this happen where we've broken through
right into the apartment.
So now you have a hole in your wall. It's damaged the drywall. broken into. Obviously, we go in there, we clean up, we repair a drywall, but now you have an entry point into your apartment. And at that point, you have to get that patched up as soon as possible because you can get water and things like that. Another issue that we've had before is when you have cracking inside, if you have an apartment that has maybe old windows, just the vibrations from the chipping hammer can loosen up the sealant around the windows, and now you can have water intruding
Insurance, yeah, one.
into your apartment, especially if you have wind-driven rain. So it's our job, it's our career, it's our livelihoods, but it's unfortunately right now there's no way to mitigate 100% the issues that a resident has to go through.
Yeah, when it comes to this
And
restoration.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. We do what we can. Like I said, we now have a clear window film that we're using more often. Engineers get working on the silenced chipping hammers. I promise you, instant success. It'll happen. Until then, you have to deal with the noise. You have to deal with the unsightliness of the construction. And one tries to keep the construction area as neat and organized
Yeah,
as
yeah,
possible, but it's construction.
yep. And it's not just normal construction. It's actually concrete restoration. You chipping out bad concrete to put in new concrete. So there's a lot of debris that is taken away from your property, and there's a lot of dust. So it's very inconvenient for the residents to be on site while we are doing our job.
And then one thing that we've had issues with, and the residents obviously don't like it. We've had these condominiums that we work in where so it's like a U-shaped condominium, or it's like a bunch of little tiny condominiums, and the in between all of them is nothing but grass. Right? It makes it look nice, the grassy feel, stuff like that. But we often have to work in those areas. It means we have to bring heavy equipment over it. We have to bring people over it. We have to put plywood down, and it kills the grass.
Your
So
landscaping
your
is gone.
landscaping looks absolutely horrible. And even if there's no grass, you usually have shrubs or bushes next to it. And half of the times they have to be removed because there's no way to save them.
No way, yeah. And no way to do the job. To do a proper job, you have to have actually access to the areas. And some people, I don't want to lose my bushes. I don't.
We
You
can't
can't.
repair the wall if your bush
You
is right up
can.
against
You
it.
know, you have to.
We've had
You
to
have
cut
give.
down trees. We have to trim down trees to make area because they're right up against the wall. It's not the greatest of processes, and it's an expenditure. It's a necessary expenditure. You don't want your building falling down. You don't want a piece of concrete falling on your head or anybody else's head. But at the end of the day, we understand this is what you have to go through. This is what people have to live through. If you're lucky enough that it's just a hotel, you're there for a few days. Yeah, you lose out on your vacation a little bit. Your vacation gets a little bit worse, but you're there for a few days. If you're unlucky enough or you don't have anywhere to go, you have to deal with it for months on end. And we've had people come up to us sobbing and crying before because it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
It's a lot to deal with, and we try to do what we can, but at the end of the day, it's construction. It's noisy, it's dirty, it's unsightly. You do what you can, but there's no perfect way to do it at this time, especially on occupied buildings.
Yep.
What do you think, Julio?
Well, I think it has been a lot of information when it comes to this inconvenience that actually owners go through, and it has been a pleasure for me to be here today, bringing this episode to you guys.
And everyone have a great day. Stay safe.
Thank you.